Ladies and gentlemen, the dignitaries will be entering the hall shortly. Please ensure that your phones are on silent mode. I request everyone to rise when our dignitaries enter the hall. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I, Suhani Anand, from the Delhi School of Economics, extend a warm welcome to all of you to this MoU exchange ceremony. We are honored to host this very important occasion, marking the exchange of two memoranda of understanding, one between the University of Delhi and the Center for Maritime Economy and Connectivity at the RIS, for maritime capacity building and academic exchanges, and another MoU between RIS and the Delhi School of Economics for joint programs on public policy research and training. India has always been a historic maritime power, and today, as we are moving towards the vision of Maritime Amrit Kal 2047, such partnerships become crucial in building capacity, knowledge, and creating the desired skills. We are extremely honored and proud to have with us today our chief guest, Shri Sarbananda Sonowal, Honorable Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways. We are also privileged to have with us Professor Yogesh Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Delhi. We are also honored to have with us Professor Sachin Kumar Sharma, Director General, RIS, Dr. Vikas Gupta, Registrar, University of Delhi, and Dr. Shishir Shrotriya from CMEC. To begin with this auspicious occasion, I request everyone to kindly rise for the recital of Vande Mataram.
सुजलां सुफलां
Now, I invite Dr. Shishir Shrotriya, Center for Maritime Economy and Connectivity at RIS, to kindly deliver the welcome address.
Namaskar, good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure for us to welcome you all at this MoU exchange ceremony on maritime capacity building and the seminar on blue economy at a very distinguished place, the Delhi School of Economics. You all are aware that the maritime heritage of India stretches back to the Sindhu-Saraswati civilization, popularly referred as the Harappan civilization, which flourished on maritime trade and extensive sea connectivity networks. Even today, more than 90% of India's merchandise trade by volume is by the seas. As you're aware, we have a coastline of 11,098 kilometers, 111 national waterways spanning over 20,275 kilometers, and more than 200 seaports, and close to 100 dry ports, or ICDs, and a huge infrastructure of rail and road networks which has to integrate very efficiently with our seaports. While India undertakes her journey from a developing nation to a developed economy, it is all the more significant for us to integrate these economic networks and logistical efficiencies. Capacity building, therefore, lies at the center pivot to transforming India in this journey, and strengthening maritime education forms the most significant part of developing an efficient maritime ecosystem. It is in this context these MOUs are very significant today. We are very fortunate that we have a very, very passionate leader amongst us, Honorable Union Cabinet Minister Shri Sarbananda Sonowal ji. He is driving this transformation of India. We are indeed very fortunate to have his gracious presence as chief guest today, and greeting him on this occasion is a great honor. Another passionate educationist and leader, Professor Yogesh Singh, Vice Chancellor, University of Delhi. He realizes the importance of the maritime domain and the blue economy, and it becomes all the more very important that he also holds the charge as Chairman AICT, and his support in driving technical education, research and innovation in the maritime sector is so crucial for Atmanirbhar Bharat. A big round of applause to welcome him again. We are also fortunate that the Center for Maritime Economy and Connectivity has been established by the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways at the Research and Information System for Developing Countries, RIS, which itself is more than a 4-decade-old organization researching on trade, investments, economic cooperation, technology development, and developmental cooperation for India. And we have Professor Sachin Kumar Sharma, Director General RIS, steering these works. It is also our proud privilege to be present here at the University of Delhi, established in 1922, which stands as one of the most consequential institutions of higher learning in India, a place that has shaped the intellectual, political, professional backbone of the nation for over a century. The university has given us prime ministers, Supreme Court judges, economists, scientists, writers, artists, civil servants, entrepreneurs, and industrialists. Although I am an alumni of IIT Delhi, but I like so many others, always look up in gratitude towards the University of Delhi alumnus, those who have left an indelible mark on virtually every domain of India's growth after independence. At the heart of this institutional legacy is the Delhi School of Economics, founded in 1949 and now one of the finest institutions of the world. Needless to mention, Delhi School of Economics is home to many towering intellectuals and leaders. A big salute and round of applause for the Delhi School of Economics and current director, Professor Ram Singh, and his team. Well, the gathering here and our presence will not be complete if we do not invoke one of the greatest son India has produced, Swami Vivekananda, on whose legacy these premises stand, the Vivekanand Hall. He is particularly celebrated as a timeless youth icon, and he said, "Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached." Ladies and gentlemen, our present goal is to contribute in India's journey to Viksit Bharat, and today is an important milestone in this journey. Swamiji also said, education is the manifestation of perfection already in the man. Let us all manifest and strive for perfection in us. As they say, tat tvam asi, and I add, tat tvam asi samudrasya. You are as infinite as the ocean, and you have to realize your infinite potential. To realize all this and to build India and get back her maritime glory, our country, which rightfully deserves this glory, we are all here today, and we are indeed very, very honored to have a distinguished set of leaders amongst us today. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for setting the tone for today's event. We now move on to the felicitation of our esteemed dignitaries. May I request Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Delhi, to kindly felicitate Shri Sarbananda Sonowal, Honorable Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, our chief guest for today. Honorable Chief Guest Shri Sarbananda Sonowal ji has been a key force in shaping India's maritime vision. He also served with distinction as the Chief Minister of Assam from 2016 to 2021, contributing significantly to the state's development. With a rich experience in governance, including roles in the Union Cabinet, his leadership continues to guide India's growth trajectory. Thank you, sir. Now, I request Dr. Vikas Gupta, Registrar, University of Delhi, to kindly felicitate Professor Sachin Kumar Sharma, Director General, RIS. Professor Sharma brings over 2 decades of expertise in international trade, development cooperation, and global economic negotiations. He has made significant contributions to policy discussions at major economic platforms such as WTO, G20, and multilateral forums. He holds a PhD in economics from JNU and has authored several books and research publications. Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Vikas Gupta to kindly felicitate Dr. Shishir Shrotriya from the Center for Maritime Economy and Connectivity at RIS, who has been the key driving force in shaping the MoU with the University of Delhi. Commodore Dr. Shishir Shrotriya is a senior naval officer, an alumnus of IIT Delhi, and has held several key roles in naval technology development, shipbuilding, and education. He has also been India's counselor for science and technology at the Embassy of India, Moscow, and is extremely passionate about maritime education, research, and training. Thank you, sir. I now invite Professor Sachin Kumar Sharma, Director General, RIS, to address the gathering.
Good morning, everyone, and namaste to all. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank our Honorable Minister, Shri Sarbanand Sonowal ji, our Vice Chancellor, Registrar, and thank you very much to all of you so that you are here as a part of this very important event. Thank you very much once again. And why this event is very important. Today we are going to do 2 MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. One is the CMAC at RIS with Delhi University, and the second is RIS with Delhi School of Economics. There are 2 very important MOU we are going to sign. And why these are important, I will come back on this specific topic. But before that, what is RIS? RIS is a think tank under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's an autonomous think tank which was established in 1983. And we have more than, like you can say, 40 years of experience on various issues. We are working on trade, technology, maritime issue, then traditional medicine, and development cooperation. We have various centers within RIS. One of the very important center is the CMEC, and you know that nowadays if you open any newspaper, you will find that a lot of issues related to maritime issues or international trade issues is happening. And it has a lot of implication for Indian economy and many stakeholders across, you can say, sector. So this is an extremely important center, the CMEC, and we thanks Honorable Minister for supporting this center, the CMEC Center. Then we have ASEAN India Center, specific center where we are addressing the issue related to ASEAN specific issues. Another, we have very important center on traditional medicine. You know that traditional knowledge is extremely important component of economy. It's not only India, but also across. So that's how we are presenting India's narrative about traditional knowledge, traditional medicine through that center. And last, one of the most important center, we have Dakshin, which was started by our Prime Minister in 2023. And the main objective of this center is to present India's narrative to Global South, to take India's narrative to the outside. What are the best practices in India? What we are doing so that we can share with the Global South. And just to give you one specific figure, that we have MoU with more than 160 think tanks across 92 countries all over the world, and through which we are sharing the best practices. And this is how the RIS play an important role in economic diplomacy. Now, why this specific MoU, two MoU are very important? What I found that in India, and not only in India, but also in Global South, there is a gap between the policymaker and the academician. And many of you may have felt it over the period of time. And many academicians, they work very hard, but their suggestions are not going into the policy making. And then the other side, I also work with the policymaker. What they found that the academicians are not providing the kind of suggestion they needed. The gap is that because the information gap. And this is how the RIS is going to play a very important role. And here we wanted to work with all of you on maritime issues, on trade issues, and overall economic diplomacy. This is how I would like to provide RIS as a platform to all my younger students, the researchers, and also the faculty of Delhi University, so that we can move together and can bring effective outcome on many of these issues. And you know that as Commodore Shotri already have mentioned, that we have more than 11,000 kilometers of coastline. We have 12 major ports, more than 200 non-major ports are there. And maritime is extremely important, because if really we wanted to become Viksit Bharat, then we also have to ensure that our economy should be competitive. And for the competitiveness, this maritime sector, along with integrated logistic corridor, is extremely important, where the roads, railway, and the maritime, the sea route, play important role if we really wanted our economy competitive so that our export can increase and we can move towards the Viksit Bharat. And here the role of all the stakeholders is extremely important. I am doing my role to provide a platform with Delhi University, thanks to the Vice Chancellor, that he agreed for this MoU. And with this, now we have done our role, it's now your turn, that all young mind, all researchers, all faculty members come together and we will solve multiple challenges the economy is facing. And because there are multiple challenges, we need also multi-dimensional approach to address this. So we need economists, we need geography, we need commerce people, we need finance people, and this is how this multi-dimensional approach is needed. And even in the maritime, maybe some of you are thinking only this engineer are required. No, when we go deep into it, it's the multi-dimensional, it's the finance people needed, innovation, AI, economists. This is how we can address this thing. And if we keep working in silo, we are not going to impact much. And therefore, this MOU really, I think it's very important. And am I also privileged to be part of RS, to be part of or to ready to joint collaboration with Delhi University. Thank you once again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those valuable remarks. It is now my privilege to invite Professor Yogesh Singh, Vice Chancellor, University of Delhi, to address the audience.
Namaste and good morning to all of you. Adarniya Sarbanand Sonowal ji, Honorable Minister of Port, Shipping and Waterways, Professor Sachin Kumar Sharma, Director General, RIS, Dr. Vikas Gupta, Registrar, University of Delhi, Dr. Shishir Shrotriya, Head, Center for Maritime Economy and Connectivity, Professor Ram Singh, Director, School of Economics, Professor Ratnabali, Dean, Academic Affairs, Professor V.K. Shrotriya, Professor Subhash Anand, Professor Surendra, Professor Pramidua, other distinguished academicians, professors, and my dear students. Good morning to all of you. Very good morning. As a Vice Chancellor of this university, I would like to welcome you all in Delhi School of Economics. And most of you are from economics, and this is one of the premier institutions of our country. And today is a very important day, where we are signing two memorandum of understanding, one with Center for Maritime Economy and Connectivity, and another with IRS. And after that, it will be followed by a seminar on a very pertinent, important topic, blue economy, its imperative for a Viksit Bharat. We are delighted to welcome Adarniya Sarbanand Sonowal ji, Honorable Minister of Port and Shipping and Waterways. We are deeply privileged for his august presence on this historic occasion. He is a performer. He is a performer, doer, and a very friendly person. Very friendly person. I met him many times, and he always, we discussed many things, and he inspired me. So I would like to quote for him a couplet of Anwar Shahoor, कि ये मत पूछो कैसा आदमी हूँ, ये मत पूछो कैसा आदमी हूँ, करोगे याद ऐसा आदमी हूँ. So our Honorable Minister is like that, कि ये मत पूछो कैसा आदमी हूँ, करोगे याद मैं ऐसा आदमी हूँ. Sir, your more than quarter-of-century-old political career is a lesson to it in itself for all of us. Not easy to perform for a very long period of time. He performed outstandingly when he was a Union Minister of State, Independent Charge, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship in 2014, Union Minister of State, Independent Charge, Ministry of Youth and Affairs, the Chief Minister of Assam from 2016 to 2021, Union Cabinet Minister, Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways, 2021 onwards. Your profound wisdom and worldview have significantly impacted the functioning of the ministries under your control and the state of Assam when you were the Chief Minister of Assam. I am particularly delighted to note that University of Delhi has entered into the path-breaking two MoUs, CMEC and RIS, in a short period of few days. Both MoUs are important for not only because for further academic enrichment in the pertinent areas of maritime economy, but at the same time, it will encourage joint initiatives on public policy, dialogue, research, and capacity building. The MoUs with CMEC has been particularly important in some of the areas defined in the MoUs. One is the promoting maritime capacity building and skill enhancement programs, collaborative research projects, joint conference and seminars. And in Delhi, when we are studying in Delhi and thinking about the maritime, thinking about the ocean, it is too far for us But yes, this MOU will provide opportunity to our students to visit there, to see, to experience some of the issues and challenges of the maritime trade, maritime economy, and other such areas. And the MOU signed with Delhi School of Economics and RIS gains importance as it endeavors to promote cooperation in the areas of policy-oriented joint research on trade, investments, finance, technology, and other mutually agreed domains. As we all know, India is the one of the oldest civilization of the world. More than 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 years old, we really do not know. But at least it is more than 6,000, 7,000 years old civilization. And India was a developed economy for thousands of years. Primarily, our economy was based on the maritime trade, and we were the leaders in maritime trade. We have many, many golden stories to share. Our dominance over the centuries, which has transcended through the eras of various political dispensation in ancient, medieval, and modern India. When I was going through the papers, I got an information I would like to share. Since 1982, these oceans have been governed by the United Nations Convention on the Laws of the Seas. The convention has now been ratified by 168 countries, but one country has not signed still, America. I don't know why are they not signing it, but they have not signed it for so many years. And now what is happening in the world, where one side is American side. So there are issues and challenges which should be discussed in the institutions like Delhi School of Economics and the think tank like RIS. How can we find ways and means and protect the interest of our country? This is very, very important. Significant for us, because now India is aspiring to become a developed nation by 2047, as envisioned by our Honorable Prime Minister. That's why. And another important, very interesting, is the maritime sector accounts for 95% of India's trade by volume and 65% by value. This was a new information, sir, new information for me. Also 95% trade from waterways, maritime trade, and value is 65. So it means this area is very, very important for us, and his ministry is also very, very important for the country. So Delhi universities should actively take part in the learning process, in the research, and in the other associated areas. Because right now, we are not doing anything because we feel that we are too far from the ocean. We are too far from the issues of the ocean. So this is the right time that we should revisit. And I would like to request our Dean Academic Affairs, Professor Ratnabali, to look into and institute courses in general electives, and we can also think of starting a minor program in the maritime engineering or maritime trade. Commerce can start in maritime trade, engineering, faculty of engineering can start in the marine engineering or something like that. So think about it, because now world order is under question, and it may change after this war. And this is first time, like from so many years, from 1947, world has experienced this type of war where ocean is involved, where Strait of Hormuz is involved. And we know that from the point of view of India, one of the things that we have been concerned about is the China's interference in the South China Sea also. I don't know how, it is very, very important for us. Over 55% of the India trade passes through this region, making it vital to India's economic and strategic interest. We are aspiring to be a developed nation, so all these sectors are extremely, extremely important for us. When 95% trade is through waterways, we cannot ignore, we can't be complacent about the issues and challenges of the maritime. I was going through a piece of paper in Economist. You know, Economist is a very respected international magazine. They said world-class ports are necessary to realize the goals for developing nation. And the title of the piece was, India has quietly transformed its ports. I would like to quote from the article. Quote, enormous progress has been made at what the government classifies as its major ports. A dozen of them, capacity has more than doubled in the past decade from 745 million tons to over 1,600 million tons. The traffic at these ports, which handle more than half of India's trade, jumped by 46% to 795 million tons in the 10 years to 2023, unquote. It means when economist has written this, I'm not saying they are we need validation from the magazine Economist, but if they have also written about the performance and the progress of our ministry and Government of India, it's a matter of pride to all of us. I would like to thank on behalf of University of Delhi to Honorable Minister for such a splendid and outstanding performance of the ministry. Now, only I will take two, 3 more minutes. After that, after signing of the MoUs, there will be a seminar on blue economy in the contemporary global geopolitical scenario. This is a new word for Delhiites. Frankly speaking, in Delhi, this is a new word, blue economy. Most of us, I'm not saying most of you, most of us, including myself, this is a new word for us, new word in our vocabulary. We were totally unaware of this blue economy. It can be understood from a simple data of our GDP. It contributes around 4% to our GDP. Such an important for our country, and we are ignorant about it. I know most of you may not be, but I was ignorant about it. Let me be. Blue economy primarily includes the sectors like fisheries, shipping, and tourism. It is important to note that fisheries sector alone employs millions of our nations. It supports 30 million livelihoods, 30 million livelihoods. When it comes to the fish producer number, I got information from 2 sources. One said second largest fish producer, and another data said third largest fish producer, whatever, second or third. It means we are doing extremely well in this area, and it accounts for 8% of the global production. So this blue economy is important, and this, as on today, the size is 13.2 lakh crores. So I would like to request Director, Delhi School of Economics to take up this initiative in close association with the departments which will form the backbone of such academic initiatives, and Dean Academic Affairs to look into all such issues, because we want to make it a priority sector for University of Delhi for next 5-10 years, because it's a new thing. Whatever we will do, we will get results here. Structured, syllabus-centric teaching learning should be adequately complemented by collaborative research projects in the emerging areas of blue economy, deep ocean exploration, deep sea bed exploration for minerals and other marine resources which may have exponential potential for the future growth for our country. Right now, our size of economy is $4 trillion, and we want to be $25 trillion. Not easy, it is difficult, but this is also a sector. We need such boosters to enhance the economic growth and contribution in the Indian economy. There are many other sectors also, but when I was going through this, I came to know this is also a very, very important sector, a booster for the Indian economy. We have to give priority. If Delhi University will give priority, some of the other universities will also follow us, and we will be able to create a right environment for the growth of our country, and we may write a golden chapter for blue economy in the growth story of our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now it is time for the most awaited moment of this morning. I request Shri Sarbananda Sonowal, Honorable Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, to kindly address the gathering.
कौन सा ये है ठीक नमस्कार this particular occasion is very important for my ministry as well as for the country. MoUs, accent ceremony, and seminar on blue economy. It's imperative for Viksit Bharat. Very lovely kind of, initiative, and this is definitely going to create a strong momentum for the future vision planned. Because whatever vision we have in this particular sector so far, Maritime India Vision 2030, Maritime Amritkal Vision 2047. I think all of you are very much closely associated with these two visions under the dynamic leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. And to translate this particular vision into a reality, this assembly is very meaningful. Today, we have the honor of the presence of Professor Yogesh Singh ji, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Delhi, and then Professor Sachin Kumar Sharma ji, Director General RIS, and Dr. Vikas Gupta ji, Registrar, University of Delhi, Dr. Sisir Sotria ji, CMAC, and then we have distinguished professors, scholars, faculty members, and my dear student friends. Good morning to all of you present here today. It is indeed a pleasure. I have a small write-up. मुझे पढ़ने दीजिए, हाँ? मैं पढ़ने में ठीक नहीं हूँ. I'm not good in reading, but I'll try to make it happen because this is my mandatory kind of, rule to play before this August House. We have certain information incorporated in this particular speech. I have to disclose it before you for better understanding. I am particularly happy for this important occasion marking the exchange of MoU between the University of Delhi and CMEC at RIS and between Delhi Schools of Economics and RIS. Maritime education research and training is a very important segment outlined in the Maritime Amritkal Vision 2047, released by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. I extend my heartiest congratulations to the University of Delhi and the Center for Maritime Economy and Connectivity at RIS for taking this forward-looking step that effectively bridges academia, education, and maritime vision together, which is most essential for India's future growth trajectory. This collaboration comes at a particularly opportune moment. Across the world, oceans are increasingly being recognized not merely as geographical spaces, but as dynamic drivers of economic growth, sustainability, and innovation. For a maritime nation like India, with a coastline over 11,098 kilometers, 111 national waterways, and a strategically advantageous position along major global trade routes, the blue economy, which encompasses the maritime sector, is not just an opportunity, it is a national imperative. Under the visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, India has adopted a comprehensive whole-of-government approach to nation development. This approach recognizes that the maritime sector extends far beyond ports and shipping. It encompasses logistics, inland waterways, maritime finance, shipbuilding, and many other professional maritime related services besides serving the coastal communities. It is this integrated and coordinated framework that is driving India's maritime transformation. Involvement of scholars and youth like you is essential to create a world-class education, research, and training in India. A cornerstone of this transformation is the Sagarmala program, which has laid the foundation for port-led development by focusing on port modernization, multimodal connectivity, port-led industrialization, and coastal community development. Complementing all this is the Maritime India Vision 2030 and Maritime Amritkal Vision 2047 that charts our long-term ambition for establishing India as the top maritime nation in the next 21 years. At the heart of these efforts lies the concept of the blue economy. It is important to emphasize that the blue economy is not about the indiscriminate exploitation of ocean resources. Rather, it is about the sustainable and responsible utilization of ocean, coastal, and marine ecosystem to drive economic growth, generate livelihood, while ensuring environmental protection. It encompasses a wide range of sectors, including fisheries, maritime transport, offshore renewable energy, marine biotechnology, and coastal tourism. Sustainability remains a central pillar of our maritime strategy. Initiatives such as the Harit Sagar Green Port Guidelines and the Green Tark Transition Program are enabling our port to transition towards a greener and cleaner operation. The first indigenously built 1 megawatt green hydrogen power plant at the Dindal Port, Kandla, Gujarat, was inaugurated by me in the July last year. It reflects a new benchmark for implementation in India's green hydrogen ecosystem. These efforts are aligned with India's broader commitment on climate action and demonstrate our resolve to ensure that economic development proceeds in harmony with environmental stewardship. The digitization of ports, deployment of smart infrastructure, and adoptions of advanced technologies are enhancing efficiency, reducing logistic cost, and strengthening India's competitiveness in global trade. These developments are also opening new avenues for research, entrepreneurship, and high-quality employment for our current generation. In this evolving context, the importance of maritime education and skill development cannot be overstated. Infrastructure alone cannot drive transformation. Human capital is equally critical. Recognizing this, the Government of India has undertaken sustained effort to strengthen maritime education, training, and capacity building. India's progress in seagoing workforce has been significant and measurable. The number of Indian seafarers has nearly tripled during the last 12 years. India today ranks among the top 3 countries as seafarer provider, contributing roughly 12% of the global maritime workforce. Now we aim to increase our global share to 20% by 2030. Equally important is the scaling and development of maritime professionals for shore-based jobs. Therefore, the government is expanding the scope of maritime education into emerging and interdisciplinary domains. This includes maritime logistics, supply chain management, green shipping and decarbonization, port-led growth and digitization, linking it to the overall blue economy growth of country. This expansion is particularly relevant for institutions such as the University of Delhi, where interdisciplinary academic strength can contribute meaningfully to maritime education, research, and innovation. It is in this context that today's collaboration between the University of Delhi and CIMEC at RIS assume greater significance. The maritime economy is inherently interdisciplinary, requiring insight from economics, supply chain management, environmental science, trade and finance, maritime law and policy, international relations, and maritime technologies, to name a few disciplines. I therefore wish that this partnership brings together academic excellence to create platform for knowledge generation, capacity building, and opens up interdisciplinary and integrated opportunities for the youth of our country. Such collaboration are essential for bridging the gap between theory and practice, ensuring that education is oriented towards employability and growth. Professor Yogesh Singh, role as chairman AICTE is therefore equally significant to create maritime capacity building. India's maritime vision is also guided by the Sagar and Mahasagar doctrines outlined by our Honorable Prime Minister, which underscore our commitment to regional cooperation, maritime security, and shared prosperity. Through active engagement with global and regional partners, India continues to play a constructive role in shaping a stable and sustainable global order. And I know the University of Delhi and institutions like the Delhi Schools of Economics have given great leaders who have helped India play this important role. Ladies and gentlemen, as we move towards the Viksit Bharat, the maritime sector will play as even more transformative role in driving India's economic growth, trade, competitiveness, and sustainable development. Major ports have collectively handled 915.17 million tons of cargo during financial year 25-26, surpassing the annual target of 904 million tons. This marks a year-on-year growth of 7.06%, reaffirming the sector's strong recovery, enhanced efficiency, and sustained growth trajectory. During 2025-26, overall capex by the Ministry of Port Shipping Waterways and its attached organization was to the tune of 14,953 crores as against 9,708 crores during 24-25. इसमें भी एक हाथ ताली होना चाहिए. ये मामूली ग्रोथ नहीं है, 9,000 से 13,000 तक. During 2025-26, 94 ships were added to Indian flag with addition of 25.67 lakhs deadweight tonnage as compared to 45 ships with 7.272 lakhs deadweight tonnage during 24-25. Ministry of Port Shipping Waterways organized India Maritime Week 25 in Mumbai. The global event was tremendous success and saw extensive participation with over 100,000 delegates, 500 plus exhibitors, 350 plus international speakers from over 85 countries. Participation focused on showcasing India's blueprint for its blue economy and securing investment in Indian maritime sector. Investment commitment at India Maritime Week 2025 reached up to 12 lakhs crore. a 41% increase from 8.5 lakhs crore in Global Maritime India Summit 2023. Out of the rupees 80 lakhs crore worth investment estimated to be attracted by our maritime sector by 2047. In just 2 years from 2023 to 2025, we attracted investment worth over rupees 20 lakhs crore, showing the immense potential in India's maritime sector. Employment opportunity to the tune of 1.5 crore is expected to be generated as a result of this new investment. The blue economy, with its vast untapped potential, will be a key pillar of this growth journey. It is in this important segment I urge the educator and students that do not treat these MOUs as just formal agreement. Give them your commitment, give them your ingenuity to create innovative solution, and give them your hard work to see that you participate in India's growth story. In conclusion, I would like to once again compliment the University of Delhi, CMAX, and RIS for this important initiative. So with this, I believe this particular meaningful event will be well understood and also well capitalized for the future faster growth of our country. Because in our sector, particularly सागर से बहुत दूर, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. सागर हमारा करीब में है. चाहे बंगोप सागर हो, अरब सागर हो, भारत महासागर हो. सागर के जरिए हिंदुस्तान ने तरक्की की है सदियों से. और हमारे जैसे भाई चंचल साहब ने बताया, 5,000 साल पहले हम मैरीटाइम नेशन के हिसाब से पहला स्थान में हमारे पोजीशन हमने बनाए थे 5,000 साल पहले. Whether it is shipbuilding, whether ship repairs, and also the maritime voice, in every sector India was to be on top. Because the Lothal, if you go back to the history of India, particularly in the maritime sector, then we will discover the truth, how 5,000 years back, Lothal used to be having the dry dock and also creating the ecosystem for global trade. So this is the way it reminds us about our powerful history in the maritime sector. So now this maritime education, if we give priority to this education, then definitely we could create quality workforce to dominate the world in this sector. Because Honorable Prime Minister has set the vision very clear. By 2047, India will be one of the top developed nations in the world, and it will be a self-reliant nation. But to achieve that goal, what would be the contribution on our part? Because in our sector, we have also set our target very clear, that by 2047, India will be one of the top 5 shipbuilding nations in the world. अभी हमारा share आप सबको मालूम है, China is leading from the front with 60% share in the global shipbuilding. But if you compare with China, we are on the bottom line. No, we'll never stay on the bottom line. We'll be on the top by 2047. So that's the aggressive vision we have set very clear. So that's why young generation, please come forward and pursue this particular education, maritime education, training and research. Because we require quality workforce, capacity and capability. Both the pillar is very important for shipbuilding, ship repairs, and ship recycling. And to create the ecosystem in India, we want to create that particular power generation and also power situation in our country so that every top shipbuilding nation or in the maritime nation could prefer India as of the most suitable destination for investment, and also create education and research. And I believe our young generation from the most reputed university like Delhi and also Delhi schools of economics, and I believe if you come forward and try to focus on this maritime economy and connectivity. Why connectivity is important? Because now we have seen the geopolitical situation in the world. How this part, that part, today or tomorrow, this critical situation come up, but will never stop our journey. Will never delink our supply chain. Our intention is very clear that we will have to create innovative ideas to discover and also to create new routes so that our voice can be sustained all the time to come amidst of all these kind of challenges. This is the power we'll have to demonstrate across the world under the dynamic leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister. ये हो सकता है क्योंकि पिछले 12 साल के अंदर जो बदलाव, जो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन संभव हुई है इस सेक्टर में, पोर्ट शिपिंग वाटरवेज, अगर आप अध्ययन करें तो आपको समझ में आ जाएगा कैसे, कहां से कहां तक आया. I'm just citing out one example. From there, you could guess and assess and understand the logic behind my statement. In the national waterways, the cargo handling was limited to 18 million ton, 1818. Now, because of the transformative initiative and accurate policy and program and dynamic leadership of Honorable Prime Minister, in the national waterways, the cargo handling capacity in just 10 years' time, it went up to 145 million ton. From 18 to 18 million ton 2014. And now it is 145. Now, by 2030, we are going to achieve that magic figures of 200 million ton. Reform, perform, and transform. That's the principal line. And speed and scale. Speed and scale. We'll have to strictly maintain these two words in our journey of faster movement of our kind of economy of the country. And I believe we are all ready for that. And because this is 21st century, we will have a lot of challenges ahead. ये मान के चलिए चुनौती भरा ये शादी है, 21वीं शादी चुनौती से भरी हुई है. इस चुनौती के बीच में हमें साबित करना होगा हम सबसे बेहतर है, सबसे शक्तिशाली है. और हमारा नेता परम आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी है. जहां ऐसा महान नेता, कुशल नेता, दूरदर्शी नेता, जहां ईमानदार नेता, शक्तिशाली नेता है, तो इसमें किस चिंता किस बात का. So I believe that's what we are to do, and this particular two memorandum, definitely it would be translated into reality, and whatever like mandate has been set in this particular two document, and this document will be effectively kind of translated into action in many ways, so that like tomorrow the maritime sector, ocean resource, and maritime ecosystem, shipbuilding, ship repair, ship recycling, and port management, onshore, offshore opportunities. सागर में समुद्री है ना, तो सागर के जरिए अपना शक्ति, अपना जो भी हालत हम मजबूत बना सकते हैं, क्योंकि हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था को आज मजबूत बनाने के लिए हमारे मंत्रालय की जो भी भूमिका रहे, इसको अगर सही हमने आगे बढ़ाने में सफलता प्राप्त की, तो निश्चित रूप से ये देश को, जैसे मोदी जी ने तय की है बाय 2047, हमें ऐसा भारत दुनिया में खड़ा करना होगा जिस भारत को दुनिया देखेंगे, दुनिया मानेंगे, और दुनिया को हम रोशनी देने का, शक्ति देने का काम करेंगे. तो मुझे लगता है कि इसी भारत निर्माण के लिए हम ये विकास यात्रा में हम सब शामिल हो जाए, उसी भावना शक्ति से, क्योंकि हमें तो इस प्रतियोगिता में जितना ही होगा, पहला स्थान लेना ही होगा। कंपटीटर शायद हमारे सामने कौन है, क्या है, इससे हमें कोई परवाह नहीं। कंपटीटर मैं भी हूँ, some numbers of developed country, but so what? We are there to defeat them. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring address. We now move to the exchange of Memorandum of Understanding. For that, I invite Professor Ram Singh to come on stage. Today, 2 MOUs will be exchanged between the Registrar, the University of Delhi, and Director General RIS. And I request everyone present to please come forward for this exchange. We will start with the first MOU. The first MOU between University of Delhi and CMEC aims to promote capacity building, academic collaboration, research incentives, and skill development for the maritime sector, aligned with the vision of Maritime Amrit Kal 2047. We now move forward to the second MOU. The second MOU between Delhi School of Economics and RIS aims to strengthen research and training on public policy for the middle and senior level policy community in India and countries of the global south. The objective is to establish a framework for cooperative institutional relations to encourage and promote cooperation in the field of research and training on public policy. Now, Director General RIS will present gifts to our esteemed dignitaries as a token of gratitude. Shri Sarbanand Sonowal ji. Professor Yogesh Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Delhi. Dr. Vikas Gupta, Registrar, University of Delhi. Professor Ram Singh, Director, Delhi School of Economics. Thank you, sir. May I now request the dignitaries for a group photograph? I now request everyone to kindly rise for the national anthem.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
With this, we conclude the formal MOU signing ceremony. I request everyone to kindly stay seated as our dignitaries leave the hall. We shall begin with our next session shortly. The next session is a panel discussion on blue economy, its imperatives for a Viksit Bharat. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall start with the next session shortly. Are honored to have with us Professor A. Venkat Raman, Professor and Dean, FMS, University of Delhi. Dr. Raman Murthy, Mission Director, Deep Ocean Mission. Commodore Sujit Shaumaddar, Visiting Fellow RIS. And Dr. George E. Thomas, who has recently superannuated from the Insurance Institute of India. This discussion will be moderated by Professor Ram Singh, Director, Delhi School of Economics. Now, I request Dr. Shishesh Shrotriya from the RIS to kindly felicitate Professor Ram Singh, Director, Delhi School of Economics. Professor Ram Singh, Director of the Delhi School of Economics and Delhi School of Public Policy and Governance, is a distinguished economist with over 2 decades of experience in research and policy. His research spans public economics, regulation, and development with publications in top international journals. He currently serves as a member of the Monetary Policy Committee of the Reserve Bank of India, contributing to key national economic policy making. Now, I request Professor Ram Singh to felicitate our distinguished panelists. We start with Professor A. Venkat Raman. He is a professor and dean at FMS University of Delhi. He is a distinguished expert in HRD and health policy. He holds a PhD from FMS and has received advanced training from Harvard Business School and the World Bank Institute. His work focuses on public-private partnerships in healthcare to improve access for the underserved, with advisory roles for organizations like the World Bank and WHO. Thank you, sir. Next, we present the memento to Dr. Raman Murthy. Dr. Raman Murthy, Mission Director of the Deep Ocean Mission, is a leading expert in ocean engineering and coastal research. He holds a PhD from IIT Madras, and with extensive contributions to climate-resilient coastal management, he has served on several national committees and advisory bodies. Thank you, sir. Next, we present the memento to Commodore Sujit Shaumadar, Visiting Fellow, RIS. He is a decorated naval officer and recipient of the Nausena Medal. He is a distinguished expert in defense and maritime strategy. He served in the Indian Navy for nearly 3 decades, commanding multiple warships. He later held senior advisory roles with Niti Aayog, Tata, and other organizations. He is the founder of the Society for Aerospace, Maritime, and Defense Studies. Thank you, sir. Next, we present the memento to Dr. George E. Thomas, former faculty, Insurance Institute of India. Dr. George E. Thomas, founder and managing partner of Tesseract Research LLP, is a leading expert in insurance, disaster risk financing, and policy design. Formerly a professor at the Insurance Institute of India, he has contributed extensively to insurance regulation, climate risk, and micro-insurance frameworks. Thank you, sir. Now, I hand over the mic to Professor Ram Singh.
Thank you. Thank you, Suhani. I welcome you all to the panel discussion on a very important issue, blue economy and its imperatives for a Viksit Bharat by 2047. On this panel, we have highly distinguished individuals who have excelled in their respective domains. We have Professor A. Venkat Raman from Faculty of Management Studies, University of Delhi. We have Dr. Ramanna Murthy, Mission Director, Deep Ocean Mission. We have Commodore Sujit Majumdar, Visiting Fellow at RIS, and Dr. George Thomas, former Professor, Insurance Institute of India. These individuals bring a very diverse perspective with rich understanding on the topic of blue economy, maritime economy. We can look forward to a very exciting session. Our panelists would like to make presentations. So first we will start witnessing, saying presentation by Dr. Ramanna Murthy. Other panelists also have presentations made, but Professor Venkataraman, you are not planning to make a presentation. So by way of logistics, I suggest that while 3 presentations being made, we can shift to the audience for better visuals. And once 3 presentations are made, we come back. So we are going to be on a tight timeline, partly because we have had very exciting inaugural session. and we are still recovering from that sense of excitement. We are going to complete the panel discussion in 1 hour from now. I suggest that panelists complete their presentation in 13 to 15 minutes so that we can complete the panel discussion in time. So if you can complete presentation sooner, that will be much appreciated, but 15 minutes maximum. So.
A very good afternoon to all. First of all, I thank Delhi University, most importantly RIS. I think Dr. Sisir, who has called me here for this today's meeting. Dr. Shana is to come, but on the face of him, I am there here. And thanks to Chair. I think I have met Chair first time in Trivandrum. Happy to see you again here in Delhi University. So that time I am hearing much about Professor Ram Singh, but now I'll be seeing him directly in his own university itself. That was my first talk when I did it in Trivandrum. It is always good to work with economists. Basically, I'm an engineer. So when today in this contest, suppose if you start looking at, especially on the blue economy, I did my urban planning from September. So basically with the background of engineering, when I go and discuss with economists and sociologists, why I have to be here and then what it makes difference, especially when you have economists and sociologists and then many other disciplines as a part of that. It is very important, especially in the present context of blue economy, to have economists on the board. Because today, I think morning you heard about that. Today we are 4% of GDP is only for blue economy. If it has to go to the double-digit number, the role of economist is very important. And then this particular MOU between Delhi University and RIS really will pave a good pathway for the future. I'll be precise, as suggested by Chairman, in 12 to 13 minutes, not more than that, briefly highlighting what is really today's contest, what is required for that. In case anything is required in the future, I'm always available. I have given my details for that. So I don't want to tell much on that. Basically, blue economy is a subset of overall economy which works in the ocean. I think I'll skip all these things about area of EAZ and then coastline, which was much talked about in the earlier speakers. I will concentrate on this slide. What it makes difference when you work with economy on the land and especially when you go into the ocean. We see a territorial sea. This is up to 12 nautical miles. When we go beyond 12 nautical miles, it is called as a exclusive economic zone. There we get a lot of resources on that. Not only in the resources, but also on the important ecosystem which survives on that. When you go beyond 200 nautical miles, you have another set of minerals, but also the trade and all plays a very important role, especially when you go beyond that. Then we have a IC. This is an important cartoon which has to be remembered, especially when we start dealing with the economy and the more. When we come to the nearer to the coast, there are many sectors like ports and harbors, fisheries, coastal industry, power plants, renewable energy, which was talked in the morning, oil and gas, tourism, shipping, mining, and desalination. These are all the gambit which comes on the revenue generating areas. But if you see on the other side, why blue economy is more important is it works on the principles of sustainability. That means you have to conserve your resource for the future, either ecosystem or the resources. We have wetlands, estuaries, lagoon, mangroves, corals. What we do, all these things is a marine protected area. That means conservation principle is important for that. We have a coastal areas, coastal states 9 and UTs 4 on the system for that. Now coming to the, I think this was a slide, I think Dr. Sisori has asked about that. I think even though we work on that, how Honorable Minister has told about waterways plays a very important role, especially logistic alternative for that. If you look at, not now, maybe when British time, there was a canal called Buckingham Canal which connects from the, in Andhra Pradesh, Kakinada to Chennai. The only way of transport is only through the waterways. They use that, but now totally we killed that. Now again, we are coming back to the system of improving the waterways for that. It is going to be one of the game changer for that. Not only on that, if you improve these waterways, it also improves the ecosystem which survives on that. So it got a multiple benefits if you improve the waterways, especially on that. Coming to the deep sea, when we are going for that, we have the many minerals. That's why I showed in the first cartoon picture which I showed about that. When we go into the deep sea, all the critical minerals that we are going to get for the EV industry, which comes only from the deep sea. But of course, there are concerns with extraction of the minerals, environmental sustainability, all those things. Code is yet to come for that. Earth Sciences is working on this for that. I belongs to Ministry of Earth Sciences. But now we coming to the emerging sectors of the blue economy, which I classified with various forums and discussions. We have marine renewable energy, advanced aquaculture and then mariculture, digital ocean technologies, most importantly, blue carbon and nature-based solution for the climate change, smart and low carbon shipping. I think nowadays they are going for the, like I think Honorable Minister told about hydrogen, and shipping is also, blue shipping is also one of the important for that. Marine and ecotourism, marine biotechnology, this is one of the important area where India can really get into the many things for ocean mining. With some riders, we have to take it up on that. Last, which is important for today's discussion, is maritime education and research. That is where university play a very important role on that. Economic sectors, which I already mentioned earlier in my slide, I don't want to go into the details, but what is more to be concentrated is what are all the threats that we get for the blue economy. One is marine pollution. Whatever we do, extra leverage that is going to pollute many of the waterways, we need to conserve that. Similarly, climate change, you also know that Delhi gets the huge rainfall, what is going to be there. But in ocean, it is much more severe when we go for the climate change. The conservation and protection are important aspects of that. What is most important is society for inclusive development. If you want to have for the community-based participation, the concept itself is for the society is important. Then when we want to do a blue economy, we need to map the resources. There is a kind of planning, what we call it as a development plan, which many of your economists knows about city planning. But once we go into the ocean, it is called as a marine spatial planning. Then we go for ocean accounting, legislation and regulation. Ultimately, what we have is the sustainable inclusive development is the fundamental principle of the blue economy. These are all some of the pillars which I identified. Due to the paucity of time, I don't tell, but you can, I will leave this presentation to all of you. This was done with a lot of interaction with many other ministries, and then we identified 9 pillars of the blue economy, what need to be considered for that. This is very important for the Delhi University when we are going to take it out for that. Each one itself is a big subject. I can talk in length, but today's paucity of time, I don't want to speak on that. Renewable energy, I myself have done a lot of work on the renewable energy. We have a huge potential for 36 gigawatt in Gujarat and 25 gigawatt in Tamil Nadu. It is going to be doubles in the number in the future. Coming to the tourism, I need not have to much talk about that. It is less explored, and then a lot of potential is there for exploring the tourism, especially ecotourism, which will also improve the ecosystem of the area for that. Sagarmala was told by Honorable Minister. I don't want to tell her. These are one of the flagship program of the Ministry of Waterways and then inland waterways. What is the main benefit that they got out of that is many of the infrastructure which was developed in the coastal areas through this, not only on the ports, but also community participation has important role as a part of the Sagarmala. Transportation, which was talked much about that when we go for that, I think today you're seeing about whatever we have, war in Iran and Iraq, or what kind of havoc that can create for that. Transportation plays a very important role for that. Now I'll come back to the final stage. When we go for the planning, originally we started with the development plan, then there is a coastal zone management plan into the sea. Now it is a marine spatial plan that is going much deep into the sea for that. Economist knows about the development plan. That time we used to consider only 2, economy and society. But now for blue economy, ecology plays a very important role for that. Then it is a subset of that. While doing all this analysis, we need to do activities, pressures, and then conflict and synergies to be identified, cross impacts to be analyzed for that. We have developed a matrix for analyzing all these things. How do we do if we want to really plan for that? Now I'll come to the important policy instruments for the blue economy. One side we have a economic development, social and cultural consideration is important for that. Ecology conservation is one of the key elements of that. So what we need to do, have enabling finance and enabling policies as a part of that. Marine spatial planning and ocean accounting plays a very vital role, and then this can be expanded more and more in detail if you want to do for the course for that. This is the sea level rise, which you can see from here. When we want to attack a disaster, what is going to happen on the past. If I go back, this I think most of you people know about the gateway of Mumbai. In case if there is a climate change, what is going to happen? We already started seeing on that. it is going to be more serious in the future for that. Similarly, if you want to recover from the disaster, we need to do a lot of economic analysis. That is where how we respond to the, especially when we have a disaster, we need to do a cost-benefit analysis, especially when we are doing it for that. This is where economists plays a very important role in terms of cost-benefit analysis, and also for the amount of that investment we make on the infrastructure to recover without damaging the complete system on the post for that. And finally, we incorporate all these things in the regulations and then see how do we put all these elements as a part of that. Ultimate goal is only to restore the ecosystem back to the normal system and then see how do we conserve and then restore that. And finally, coastal resilience plays an important role if you want to survive in the long run for the next few all your young generation for that. Pollution, very important. These are all some of the pictures to show you how it can damage and then get the entire ecosystem out of the system, and you will not, we are talking about the fisheries. Suppose if pollution is there, you don't get the fish catch in the deep sea, all of you will have a problem for the, if you don't manage the pollution for that. Finally, we need to have a research policy and investment. Education and training and capacity building are important component for that. I'm handled Deep Ocean Mission from the Ministry of Earth Sciences. This is a pilot project of the blue economy. There are 6 verticals on that. One vertical deals with the development of manned submersible like Chandrayaan will be sending 3 people to the 6,000 meters into the deep into the sea. That is the technology what we are going to do. I already talked about ocean climate change advisory services. If climate change, how it happens for that. 3rd and 6th verticals are more important for biotechnology if you want to generate in the blue economy for that. I already talked about the minerals in the deep sea, how we can extract on that. Most important, especially in some of the areas, water starving areas, water is also important. Desalination plays a very important role. Renewable energy, which I have talked about that. Now I'll come back to my concluding slides, what needs to be done. This is what Dr. Sisir asked me to focus on that. Blue economy is a multidisciplinary and core structure should address policy perspective focusing on economy, ecology, and the society. I have broadly listed some of the areas where you can concentrate from Delhi University, but of course, it doesn't mean that all the areas need to be concentrated. We can prioritize and then see for that. Most of the people from Delhi University are welcome to any of our MoUs institute to see and then get that. The first one I put is a maritime transport and shipping and ports, which was talked by Honorable Minister. Coastal tourism, which I told it is less explored and we have to do for that. Aquaculture and fisheries. Marine biotechnology is one of the area. Marine renewable energy. Most importantly, marine industry. Today in India, we are not having a good manufacturing industry in the system for that. If you want to really to GDP to take it up to the next level in the double number, this is where we need to concentrate, and circular economy plays a very important role. Today, we have for the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, have for the framework for the general accounting, for the environmental accounting, they are developing it. In fact, I am one of the working group chairman for the ocean accounting MOSP, and then we have developed the framework for that, and you can see in the website of MOFC. Coastal and deep sea ecosystem we have to conserve, and community-based and inclusive development is an important component of the overall system. Climate change has to be taken. This is a threat which I already mentioned about that, marine pollution. Last but not the least, ocean governance policy and environmental sustainability is important, where RIS plays a very important role. Not only that, suppose if you want to really take a blue economy in the next step, blue finance and institutional framework is also important. World Bank is working on that. I also work with World Bank on blue finance, what mechanism to develop. Last part is international law and regulations. This is where RIS plays a very important role for that. Last statement of students should be from any of the disciplines, marine sciences, life sciences, geosciences, economics, sociology, or engineering. We should bring all these things together for that. When I was doing my master's in urban planning in Ahmedabad, I used to see various disciplines people coming and working on that. That is where blue economy, what is required for that. And this is only a initial thoughts, because time given to me is short. We can discuss a lot on that. And then finally, what we wanted to build for future generation is stressed ecosystem to the biodiversity rich ecosystem, where future generation can enjoy the benefit from the ecosystem, and then what we have for the climate change. Thank you.
Friends, good day to you. And to the RIS and all connected with this, to the Delhi University, thank you very much for having me here with you. I'll try to be as brief as possible, but then this is one of the areas of my passion, and there's a lot of work which I've been doing from the point of view, not exactly of marine, but from the disaster risk management as well as from insurance. On this area, worked with by UNDP, with the World Bank, and various other organizations of report that like the GIZ, apart from national organizations. So there is lots which I feel to talk, but I will try to restrict myself. And this is the word which we are using over here. The blue insurance is something which is as unheard of as to most of you. It is similarly unheard of within the insurance industry also. So this is within India. Friends, why do we talk about insurance? We all saw from the morning in the discussions that the blue economy is a pot of gold, isn't it? Gold and precious stones. But the problem is that it is not sitting right here in the middle of all of us on the floor. If it was there, we could have quickly gone and picked it up. It is hanging somewhere up. Some take it as 20 feet up. Okay? 20 feet up above you, there is a pot of precious stones hanging. It is there for you to pick it up. How many of you will jump and pick it up? Will try to pick it up? Yes, there are very, very few hands which go up. Why the others did not raise their hands? Yes, 20 feet high is quite some height. You might fall and break your legs, right? Supposing I put 4 strong people down there holding a safety net and assure you that nothing will go wrong, we will catch hold of you if something goes wrong. How many more will be there to try? Yes, more hands are coming up. Yes, this is the difference which insurance makes. Unfortunately, we don't know much about insurance, and all we know is courtesy to the life insurance corporation agents who have met our parents once upon a time and told us, you please take one insurance policy in your child's name. That is, of course, that is a big segment of the insurance industry. But what is exciting, what is important about this is this. And when do we need this safety net? When people are ready to jump. When at least 2-3 people are ready to jump and get that benefit, we need more people to come in to make the country strong, to make the economy strong. For that, we need a safety net. So insurance is a follower. When it is a follower, it is an enabler. And the most exciting part for you students is, as of now, these systems are not there in India, many of them. There are only some. Because if nobody is jumping, there is no need of a safety net. Now the government is thinking of a situation where more and more people can come into this and do something. Here we need to have safety net, and this safety net is left to your imagination. That is the exciting part of it. And for that you need people who know about shipbuilding, about the coastal architecture, about the way the communities work, about several things, several other disciplines. We need legal people, we need doctors, we need just everybody. Every branch of knowledge is required to make the new innovations. And this is something which is going to make a sea change in this entire segment. With this opening thing, I'll just get on to my presentation. This was seen seriously, the issue of blue economy was seen seriously by the insurance industry as well as the finance industry only a few years back. So then came this collaboration between the WWF and then the European Union and others, and they started off saying with the declaration of the sustainable blue economy finance principles. So I'm not boring you with these things. You will be getting the presentation. There are 14 principles which they have laid down, which talks about, many of the things have been mentioned by my previous speaker and also the other speakers in the morning. So I'm not getting into that much in the interest of time. And again, you'll be getting the copies of this presentation. The focus on it, it is again, the OECD is also on that. There is a lot of opportunity. There is no doubt on that. There's no argument about that. There's a lot of opportunity in the blue economy. So there is coastal tourism which is happening, which can happen. The transport and food sector can improve. Okay. Now let us look at it from a different point of view. Do nothing. If you do nothing, what happens? We were talking about this opportunity. If you do nothing, what happens is, if you can Google, you will find out a lot of people who have done nothing about it. Say, we have seen it in Kazakhstan. The Aral lake was lost. So even in the USA, we have lost lakes. In many parts of the world, lakes are no longer there, or 90% of the lake is gone. 90% of the lake is gone doesn't make you feel anything, but when you say that hundreds of types of fishes are no longer there, hundreds of breeds of fishes are no longer there, and the people who were sustaining themselves on these fishes, that is fishing them, selling them, that entire ecosystem is gone. The birds which were coming there to eat the fishes, they are no longer there. The tourism which was around that, flamingos coming in, gone. People who were working on the tourism industry left out. There were many things which happen. And when the sea level, when the big lake, it is something like a small sea. When it dries up, what happens? Unlike the ocean system where the salinity goes down with climate change, here the salinity goes up. A lot of chemicals become concentrate, and there is a lot of land which becomes exposed, dry. And what happens to dry sand? It flies, storms happen, and they go and damage the entire ecosystem, the entire vegetation around, causing again economic damage. If you do nothing, the sand which is at the bottom of the lake, it flies around in the wind and damages all your crop. We have seen that in different parts of the world. I'm not getting into the details of which country what. So it affects in multiple ways. And in this coming to the sea, the salinity comes down, the sea level increases. Professor has well explained about what happens when the sea level rises, and a lot of related stuff happening. So how do we attack this problem? How do we try to do something about it? So you can Google and find out about what happened in the oil spill in Mauritius. Again, that is again the cost of people trying to do something. There was there is a problem about the explosions at the port of Beirut, and even getting into small things, the illegal fishing. Illegal fishing, they go around at the wrong time and they catch the fish which is too young. So the next generation of fishes are not there. They leave a lot of plastic in the plastic nets in the ocean. Fishes die, get caught into that and sink and die. And many other related things. So there is ocean-related sustainability issues. There is a complex variety of risks which are coming up, even with the climate change itself. There is demand for insurance, innovative solutions, as I was telling you, because new ventures are happening. That comes about, protecting coral reefs. There were experiments on that done in the USA, in the Caribbean. The mangroves were to be kept safe for preventing coastal floods. I work a lot on the disaster side. The importance of mangroves, many of you know. Again, the blue carbon resilience credits. So here, by bringing in the insurance companies, what can they do? One is risk management. Yes, we don't recognize that insurance companies do a lot of risk management. Why? They give you protection on asset, life, livelihood, health, and everything. But then if there is something going wrong, who pays? Insurers pay, right? They don't want to pay. So they will try to protect you. They will give you ideas so that you improve and save the wealth of the nation. Simple. If there are less people, if there are less houses which are going to be damaged in a flood, insurance companies have to pay less. The equation is so simple as that. So they have a big stake in this. They have got skin in the game. By bringing them in, you are getting a big supporter in the process of growth. Because more growth, more insurance premiums, simple. And less claims, more savings for the insurance companies. That is why world over, from the UN onwards, they want more insurers to come in. One, they give in protection, the kind of protection which I was telling you about the safety net. Secondly, bringing in their knowledge to tell you, please don't jump like this, you jump in this way only, you will not hurt yourself. Or when somebody is jumping, jump in this particular way. Don't jump from the top, from the balcony, jump from here, you get the support of somebody. So that kind of things. How to, the simple thing, let me again quote your professor when he talked about the Buckingham Canal. The Buckingham Canal, apart from trade, it was preventing tsunami's effect. The same thing in a tsunami-prone area in Sendai where I visited, there was a canal. There was a similar canal, sir. The water comes in and the water used to be dissipated through the canal system. So the modern management felt that this canal is a waste. They constructed a big wall demolishing part of the canal. When the recent tsunami came, the wall prevented water to some extent, but the water which came at a very high level, they got this side, and what happened? Water came and did not go back, flooding the entire villages. So villages were drowned, entire villages were drowned in the man-made prevention system. You see it to believe it. You feel like crying when you see that. So we created that as a solution, but that only, otherwise it would have been one stretch of water coming and going back in a couple of hours. Here it got stopped. People could not run away. They are already trapped under a sea of water. So, there is a lot of sense more. That is why even from the king's times, ancient times, we had certain systems. India had its own systems. We had to look at them. When Kerala has got a set of waterways, Bengal has got. So wherever there are some particular areas where there is more of disaster proneness, we have got our own people have created certain systems. So we need to study about that. In this kind of forums, we need to study about that. And again, as I was telling, insurance can act as an enabler of change in this entire system as risk carriers, risk managers, and also risk carriers says, because for all this different kind of thing, for aquaculture insurance, for algae farming, it's all different kind of knowledge which you need to provide that kind of security net. For if I am jumping and a lean person is jumping, it is a different kind of safety net you need. Okay, so for deep sea fishing, it is something different. So covering the risk, then risk managers, they tell you how to deal with it, how to protect yourself. And the third aspect is, and that again prevents losses, as I was telling you. The third aspect is about investment. Insurers are money rich. They are custodians of huge amount of money, which come in as their insurance premium. And all the premium does not get over in a particular year. Because tsunamis come once in 100 years, earthquake comes once in 20 years, so they need to keep their money. They invest that money. Where do they invest that? Where do they invest that money? They invest it in development activities. So that is the insurance. When it grows up, it brings in a channel of development. And also they do research to find out how to prevent things from going wrong. So that is the money which comes in. So for these three reasons, I was talking to you about the Mesoamerican Relief Fund, which was funded completely by some of the insurance companies, where they protected the coral reef, and around 15 million people were the beneficiaries from that thing. You can read about it. There's lots available, lot of information available. So plus, an added angle is, if an insurance system of taking care of this is there, the humanitarian relief patient, because you are sure that there is a system over there. When there is no system, you don't want to, whatever milk of human kindness you have got in your heart, unless you are assured that the money will reach the real suffering person, you are not going to pay. If you know that there is a system over there, then you will be willingly coming and contributing your charity there. So insurance indirectly promotes philanthropy. These are things that are happening across the globe in various places. So friends, thank you very much, and thank you for having me here, and happy to be talking for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Thomas, for a very, very interesting and crisp presentation. Next, I invite my colleague to make his presentation, his verbal presentation. So we had 2 PPTs for this session, and both PPTs have been made. So we can now shift to the podium. I request volunteers to shift sofas. So
Good afternoon. Looks like no response. So you deserve a lunch after this, so don't worry. Good. I think whenever I thought I will get the last opportunity to connect the dots in terms of how the academics can play a role, especially the University of Delhi, and where do we connect the dots between what Dr. Ramamurthy said, Dr. George mentioned, as well as what transpired in the morning. Nevertheless, I can always preempt some people. We, in blue economy, there are several dimensions to this entire debate. Over a period of time, we have spent a lot of energy and resources in developing competencies in the technology and the science and technology area. For example, you would have seen marine biology, for example, as a major discipline, shipbuilding, naval architecture as a major discipline in engineering colleges, marine engineering becoming a very major contributor. However, every economy requires very good research based on strong analytics, managing the system, managing the resources, and also providing capacity for the systems to function more efficiently. When George was making the presentation, I was assuming that maybe sociologists and the social work discipline in Delhi University can do a great deal of work in those disaster areas, trying to mitigate the communities there around. When Professor Ramamurthy mentioned about the kind of size of blue economy, Department of Economics, Management Studies, Technology Department can crunch the data and try to find out what is most feasible cost-benefit analysis as well as the operational issues that can come. But since I come from a very small department, Management Studies, therefore I limit my comments only on the management side. We have heard in the morning that there are 30 million people dependent on blue economy in India, and 3 million people have employment here. Out of 3 million, the minister made a statement that by 2047, we should be counting 15 million people. That's about 1.5 crores. That's what he mentioned in the morning. But if we assume, even if I were as a management school or any management departments in this country, even 1% of that 15 million people who work in formal industries associated with the blue economy, for example, shipping, For example, ports management. For example, logistics and supply chain. For example, financing and risk management firms on shipping industry. Imagine the number of people who would be in the executive and managerial positions who require that kind of a competence to not only manage the supply chain, logistics, ports management, terminal management, container management, including infrastructure development. If I deep dive into even the infrastructure, public-private partnership and its own management of ports. Now, when you go to any of the airports around the world, you realize that why is that the Dubai airport is so competitive in trying to get every aircraft land there? Do we have similar story in the ports? Apparently none. Singapore port does a great job, but why is that none of the Indian ports are in a position to really do that? Can we not develop Andamans as a transition point for nearly 50% of the global trade that passes through Indian Ocean? Maybe the efforts are on way, but we need people to really do and conceive and design and manage such kind of system. Take the example of, you go to Cairo, for example. The river journey, the evenings and the boat ride on the Nile is a huge industry. It's one of the most attractive tourism, river tourism anywhere in the world. Let's take Alleppey as an example in India. Backwaters. Do we have such kind of a professional systems in place? Last year I was there in Alleppey. You just log into any agency, there are no formal systems where you can kind of register or choose the boat you would like to travel. It's all informal. A very large proportion of people are engaged in this industry. Ocean tourism. You go to Singapore, you go to Thailand, Bangkok. Along the sea coast, you have almost these, the boats that carry a huge number of passengers. We do have between Cochin to Lakshadweep. We do have it from Mumbai to Goa. But we don't see that kind of a business being very large in number. Why not Vizag to Howrah? Why not Chennai to Vizag? When we can have inland tourism so much, why not think about tourism on the ocean liners? So where do we play as a role? I remember when I was doing my master's in Tata Institute of Social Sciences, for a few months I was in Mumbai Port Trust. That was my field kind of internship that I was to do. The Mumbai Port Trust had several employee welfare policies, all were in a circular manner. No handbook was available on all the employee welfare. Management professionals can be of a very large use there. Port trusts are managed, but are they managed efficiently? Now, the privatization of ports have happened recently. But how many of these ports that public sector owns can compete with the Adanis who have just developed something in the Vizhinjam, if I am not wrong? So there is an enormous opportunity that we do have. But the question is, is the deep ocean mission, shipping industry, the ministry, the RIS, willing to come together and say that we need management professionals in these places. We need people with certain kind of a professional aptitude to manage the business. If we can get that kind of an opportunity, an enormous opportunity can be explored and we can contribute in that. And with these words, I think the role of universities, especially Delhi University, though we are thousands of kilometers away from any ocean or any kind of a sea coast, we still have a huge responsibility to play. Second area, I thought I was winding up, but then it just reminded me of something else. Delhi School of Economics. Besides looking at the prospects of economy, the size of economy, can we play a role in terms of regulatory framework? Can we play a role on advocacy? Can we play a role on operationalizing some of the intent of making this blue ocean strategy? Blue ocean strategy in a management school is a different one, but we perhaps have to explore this blue economy as from the point of view of blue ocean strategy. All right. With these words, I am open to many questions while the panel discussion happens. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Venkatraman. We have witnessed 3 very exciting presentations. Before I request the 4th panelist to speak, I want to let you know that we will have a Q&A session. We will take some questions from the audience, especially from students. So you can think of questions you would like to ask. You can frame your questions. You surely will get opportunity. I invite now Commodore Sujit Samadar to make your presentation, sir.
Thank you, Professor Ram Singh, and thank you, Delhi School of Economics, and thank you, Delhi University, for the opportunity of being here to talk about what we actually had this panel discussion about. It's about blue economy imperatives for a Viksit Bharat. That was the title of this presentation, and we have heard a stream of thoughts which have centered around this basic concept, which have looked at deep ocean missions, looked at management studies, and so on and so forth. But the important point is that, the vision of a Viksit Bharat, a developed nation, cannot be solely through land-based economic transformation. I think that is a fundamental truth that has emerged from the discussion that we have had this morning and from the guidance that we have received from the Honorable Minister also. We have a huge geography. Everybody knows we got 11,000 kilometers, of coastline, 2.2 million square kilometers of EEZ, and 1,350 islands, and so on and so forth. But where are we in the overall maritime space? We have great maritime geographic credentials, but where are we on the value chain? So to connect that value chain, the word blue economy was once discovered many years ago in 2000, and then Gunther Pauli took it up and actually gave the construct of a blue economy. And that blue economy had those pillars that we have been discussing this morning, so I don't want to get into it. But the basic idea is that the blue economy basically integrates economic growth, environmental sustainability, and technological advancement in open spaces in one cohesive system. And that is where the discussion has to lead to that how do we create that one cohesive system within the presence of such an illustrious institution such as the Delhi School of Economics, within RIS, within CMEC. That is the task we have ahead of us. As far as the value chain of India is concerned, the global participation, India's global participation in the maritime economy is concerned, we have a lot of headspace for growth. We have about 0.06% of the global shipbuilding capacity, about 0.07% of the total ships that are flagged in India. We managed to get to 15 million tons of cargo and added 92 ships, but that is a very small number compared to what strengths are. So one can look at it as a glass half full, or you can look at it as a glass half empty. So I like to think of it as glass half empty because that just tells us how much potential we have to grow. I mean, we are doing about 45,000 tons of shipbuilding in a year. We have to make 4.5 million. And that 4.5 million has to come from all of you. That's the kind of shipbuilding that we have to do. We can't have, 1,300 ships. We have to have 13,000 ships. At RIS, we did a study for the requirement to meet the coastal cargo traffic that was mentioned by the Honorable Minister today. The invested amount is close to 14 lakh crores. We are looking at 5,000 ships to be built. And we build 20 in a year. So you have plenty of headspace for growth. And I think we should not forget that. And it's also important because, as was mentioned, we spend $85 billion a year paying foreign companies to carry our cargo. We have seen how vulnerable we were to the Straits of Hormuz crisis because we didn't have our own ships to carry our own crude. But diplomacy and the government's initiative have helped us stem this problem. But I don't think it's something that we can rest our oars on, and we need to work further on it. So at the core of all this is, what was mentioned this morning is very clearly the maritime sector is changing very fast. Ports are becoming global. Shipyards require lots of new technologies. The finance sector needs lots of work. There's also the entire international ecosystem from the International Maritime Organization, the UNCLOS, the BBNJ Treaty. Hundreds of things are happening in the world where we are not yet a decisive actor. And that strength has to come from all of you. So let me just touch on what kind of skills that we need. Traditionally, everybody, when once looks at the ocean, you're only thinking about ships, some cargo going from A to B. And the kind of skills that you need is navigation and engineering skills for the shipping sector. That's not it. The ocean economy is now transformed, and it requires a variety of skills. So being in an educational institution, I think the first point is to understand that there is a clear requirement to design courses. As I think Professor Yogesh Singh also brought out today in the morning, how Delhi University, the Delhi School of Economics, through the MoUs that we have signed, can build these courses so the young people of this India can become innovators and startups in the maritime ecosystem. That's the opportunity ahead of you. So let's try and see what we need to do. First of all is technology. I think technology is such a huge word and it encompasses so many different aspects. We need to be a little more specific. There's technology in designing ports. There's technology in designing wharfage cranes. There's technology in ocean technology. There's technology in doing sustainable fishing. There's space-based systems. There's maritime domain awareness. There is, nutraceuticals and pharmaceuticals that come from the sea. Mention was made about modules that we have to take out from the seabed. All this is technology. So within this whole technology, you cannot have an all-singing, all-dancing person who knows all sorts of technologies in one place. There's a requirement for focus. And those focus has to come from well-designed academic courses which impart those skills to our people who can be readily employable. That is one of the biggest challenges that we have, that you have to have employable graduates. And that can only come if there is this close interaction between academia, policymakers, and industry. And I think I would commend that action first, that as we move forward in designing our courses, let's have this brainstorming session. So I told you about technology. The second point is law. You cannot do a single thing in this country or any other country unless you understand law. And that law is an extremely complicated subject. Maritime law is even more complicated. Why? Because a ship may be built in some place. It is owned by some other chap. It's insured by a third guy. The crew is multinational. It's carrying cargo from some port to some other port, which the shipping company has got no interest in. The insurance is by some other guy. There's a broker in Scotland who's doing this job for you. It's a whole multinational enterprise. And that requires you to understand law from a larger perspective than just Dafa 302. So you have to think about law, maritime law. And here again, it's not about just shipping and port laws that become important for us, but it's also about how we can engage with the international community on making those treaties and agreements that are favorable to the global south. And that is a core function of what RIS does. We work together with the Global South and try and formulate those policies and those action items that benefit the Global South first. And that is a contribution that we should take forward. But that requires education, the right kind of education and understanding international maritime law. So, so as I said, shipping contracts, port regulations, there are so many different things. UNCLOS itself can be challenged. You need to know how would you approach the International Court of Justice. How would you do arbitration? These are skills that you have to have as our country moves forward. Economics. I think we have spoken about economics. As an engineering guy, I think I'm least qualified to talk about economics. But I can only tell you one thing, that in my little study on maritime economics, I've only found one book which was written in 2009, which spoke about maritime economics. That book is as relevant today as it was then, but there's substantial amount of space for our faculty here to write about maritime economics. Build it up, break it down, write those chapters, educate our community, understand the fundamentals of maritime economics. Because it draws upon macroeconomic indicators, it looks at microeconomics, and none of this data can be handled unless you know econometrics backwards. So all these are skills that are resident here, and let's try and leverage those skills to understand how logistics can be more efficient, how social systems interact with the economic system, how economic systems impact the environmental system, what is the overall costing that we can do, and how we can move forward. The third, of course, science and science. As I said, there's always a continuum between science, engineering, technology, and product. Science is what you will learn in these places. Engineering is what will take you to the next step. Using science and engineering, you can get to a technology, and that technology converts into a product. So this continuum between science, engineering, technology, and product has got different stakeholders in it and different participants in it. Science comes from institutions like the Delhi School of Economics, my own IIT Roorkee, from where I am a graduate. So those are sort of things that you have to enmesh. And designing such a course on which looks at science, environment as one cohesive whole is an important ingredient for achieving as an imperative for Viksit Bharat through the Blue Economy route. Even simple things like designing systems for pollution control and oil spill control systems. That requires a lot of modeling. It requires you to understand how ocean waves behave. You need to find out how granular can you be on hydrography of that place, the oceanographic signature of that place, what is the wind there, what is the temperature there, what is the salinities there. Unless you know all that, you cannot contain an oil spill. So this requires a huge amount of modeling, and that is something that we need to learn. Management was spoken about, so I'm not going to mention to it. We have the Faculty of Management Studies, who's the most eminent person to talk about management. But again, in management itself, there is, of course, the efficiency part of it. There's the resource optimization part of it. There's all of that. But one of the key principles of management that we have to focus on is the unique HR requirements of the blue economy. It's a completely different ballgame. We have gender. We have women seafarers. Mention was made that we are going to be at 20%. When you look at 20% of the global workforce, you are looking at about 200,000 people, of which hopefully 100,000 would be young women. So how do you handle this at sea? And they have to be captains. They also have to be chief engineers, though they are women. And we have had many women who have been smart captains of ships and smart chief engineers. But there's a lot of issues that we need to understand. So how do we handle this workforce? And that requires specialized skills, which the Faculty of Management Studies can probably lead up, particularly on leadership lessons. Second, of course, we should not forget our own history and culture. That is the strength that we can bring to this problem. Unless you are aware of what's happened to your past and you learn the lessons of that time, you will make the same mistakes again. So an awareness of our past is intrinsic to any form of education that we do for a Viksit Bharat as part of the Blue Energy Initiative. No matter what course you do, there has to be a capsule on maritime history, of which we are so proud of. But we now know it from a sort of secondary source. If you know it and you live it, you will admire it and you will aspire to make our country, let's say, great again. Of course, none of this works. The blue economy doesn't work without security. Security is basically 4 pillars: the security of sea lines of communication, stability, sovereignty, and safety of crew. The most important element that maritime security does for the blue economy is that it assures continued and unimpeded access to minerals, markets, and commodities. You need all three of them for the growth of your country. And that cannot happen by the goodwill of mankind and good sense of nations. It doesn't work like that. It needs force. And that force comes through maritime security, and that force need not be a naval force. It can be militias, it can be legal instruments, many of them. But the study of maritime security is essential for you to be part of the overall maritime system, which will take our country towards Viksit Bharat. I spoke about human resource development and seafarer welfare, so I will not touch upon it once again. Let me also talk about one more point, which is about how do we move from here. For example, all this is very expensive stuff. There's going to be a lot of investment that is required, but if we model and use our money well, we'll probably get there. The first important is we have clearly understood from the little talk that I've had that it's a very multidisciplinary game. It cannot be done in one place here and there. So there has to be an overall architecture of designing such a course that brings in different faculties together, and you have courses that you can run in different faculties, bring that skill together and build it up. Then, of course, it's not just about stopping at the undergrad and graduation level or post-graduation level. Real work will come from PhD works that come in. That will be seminal works that India can contribute to the overall repository of knowledge across the world, right? Practical training is a must. I was on some committee where we had some management consultants who were talking about shipbuilding. So I asked that person, has he seen a ship? He said, no, I have not seen a ship. I said, have you seen a shipyard? No, I have not seen a shipyard. What are you doing? I'm making the shipbuilding strategy for my country. So, so we can't have that. Obviously, it was some cockeyed strategy which had been made, and it didn't work out. But unless you have your skin in the game, unless you live and breathe that system, your contribution from academic books and internet and chat GPT, etc., can only be very superficial. So we need to integrate all of that. Lastly, I think where we can actually study is a little bit on simulation. And I think that is something that most of our academic institutions must work on how do we build simulation as part of the curriculum so that you are able to do actual result-oriented studies as part of your experimental work. I think I'll finish here. I've already got a hint from my chairman to shut up. So I'll thank you very much for listening to me. And if there are any questions, I look forward to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commodore Samadar. You have made several points, very interesting points. Some points you made very explicitly, and some points were subtle. But everything you said has been noted, and has been noted with all the seriousness that your points, your observations deserve. We open the floor for Q&A now, but I can't resist temptation of making some observations. I'm fully mindful that now we are literally between you and your lunch. We will minimize the time distance, time gap between the two. 4 panelists have covered really wide-ranging issues which are complementary. They have highlighted centrality of ocean economy, maritime economy, and security for our development path. I want to make 1 or 2 points. One is that whichever way we look at Viksit Bharat, whatever pathways we have in mind, we have to achieve reliance on external front, on export-import front, and also in terms of critical technologies. Pathways towards this are going to be our competitiveness vis-a-vis rest of the world. Today we come across highly uncompetitive vis-a-vis many countries we are competing against, like China. A fundamental reason behind our uncompetitiveness is the logistics cost, the cost of freight, cost of travel. What we should be doing to become competitive, we are doing completely opposite of that. In many countries, if you look at cost of freight, it is highest for roads. medium for railways, and least for waterways, whether it's ocean or inland waterways. By this primary argument, we should have most of our freight through waterways, through sea routes, and then railways, and minimum transportation should be done by the roads. We do completely opposite. Completely opposite. So therefore, one principle is that we have to reverse this order. We have to develop our waterways. We have to make better use of our coastal line to become competitive. It is central. The other point I want to make is that today is the first time where economic strength and military might, they are intertwined. They were gone are the days where you could have a Japan economic power but not militarily that. Today two must go hand in hand. And there, three fields must progress simultaneously. Space technology, AI technologies, their military applications and economic implications go hand in hand. Same applies for waterways. There, our security and economic strength, they will go hand in hand. So we will be killing two birds with one stone by developing a blue economy potential of our nation. With these words, let me invite some questions from students. Yes, we will take only one round of questions, so keep your questions brief. Yes, yes, please. You can pose your questions and then we will say which one take it, yes. Maybe we will encourage both of them to respond to your questions. We can hear you. You can speak up. We can hear you.
Sir, my question is for marine tourism. Sir said about ki we should enhance the marine tourism. But as I think that tourism is majorly defined through the safety and the fascination of the place. So, sir, in what ways we can give assurance of that to the tourists, majorly those who are living in inlands? And another question is, what about the sustainability of the marine ecosystems, which might be hindered due to the overcrowding we are facing in the Himalayas?
Wonderful, wonderful questions. You actually have covered through your questions other two panelists also. Dr. Ramanamurthy talked about planning. So we will have a round of questions. And you also have brought in insurance aspect by talking about safety. Any other questions? Okay. All right.
गुड आफ्टरनून सर मेरा क्वेश्चंस बेसिकली इससे है कि सब लोग शिप बिल्डिंग की बात कर रहे हैं मराइन इकोनॉमी से तो जितना ज़्यादा शिप्स होंगी जितना ज़्यादा नेविगेशंस होगा उतना ज़्यादा नॉइज़ पॉल्यूशन होगा ओशियंस में वो बेसिकली मराइन इकोसिस्टम को अफेक्ट करता है तो मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि कैसे इसको आप लोग देखते हैं बैलेंस कैसे होगा
Very good, very good question about sustainability of developing blue economy, harnessing potential of our seas. We have scope for taking last question. Who wants to be the one who would ask? I will let you ask a question. I was hoping that a girl student will also ask a question in the interest of Commodore talked about very certainly that hopefully 50% will be women, engineers and captains. So here let there be at least one girl who is asking a question. So. Okay, you have very generously left the field open to boys. Okay, you get to ask last question.
Good afternoon, everyone. The talks have been very good and insightful. My question is that throughout the discussion, there is repeated emphasis on the education sector to build courses which target this. And obviously, being a student and have taken so many courses, these courses need to be very specialized. And in my opinion, the current
Question, please.
the education framework that we have now, it doesn't give a lot of opportunities to give so many courses. Therefore, should we kind of build on executive courses and things like that? Because
Very good.
yeah, that. Thanks.
So we have had several questions. Each question was very interesting. I invite panelists to, I will request all the panelists to respond one by one. 2 minutes, 2 minutes maximum. Where should we start? Dr. Murthy, should we start with you? There were 2 questions. One was sustainability and other was...
About, I think, tourism, all the safety standards, whatever tourism that is being operated for the vessels, it is built into the system itself. It's like, suppose if you are inland waterways, you have a less risk, but if you are on the open ocean, you have a different thing. And wherever this ecosystem is there, shipping routes are there, ecosystem is also part of that. There is a regulation for that, and it will be handled properly with that system. And coming to the sustainability in the long run, that's what this blue economy talks. It is well built in the system. Any project which comes, environment safeguard also as a part of that.
Dr. Thomas?
First of all, let me comfort you about your fears that something which is on development is going to create big problems for the ecosystem, because that is where there is the need for collaboration between technology, management, and law. So when the government does something, allows something, along with that there is a particular regulation also which will come in. And there are safeguards which are built in. You cannot just like that go and start breaking ships or building ships. Breaking ships creates a lot of problems to the entire marine economy, you are right. But then when the India government is trying to do this, it will have systems in place so that we don't damage, we don't pollute. Actually, many places in the world where they are doing shipbreaking, they are creating big ruin to the ecosystem. So there we have to have proper regulations when it is done on the mass scale. A second point which I need to say is when we are looking at the thrust is about the collaboration between various areas, which Professor Ram Singh was also talking. See, I'll give you one example. Somebody talked about the single point mooring. The single point mooring which is there in Ahmedabad, I mean, if you're seeing in any of the ports, especially it's on the Gujarat side they started, in the early 1970s, I mean the mid-1970s, when they started the single point mooring system, it was very costly. It was a very costly thing to establish, and there was no insurer in India who was willing to insure it. So we were spending a huge amount of money in terms of dollars for getting that, for getting the insurance for that, because without the insurance, the single point mooring for the, you can read about it, but it is just simply when large vessel cannot come to the shore because it is too large, that in between there is a system whereby it is the oil is pumped over there, and from there the Indian oil, it comes to the Indian oil places, refineries. So for that, if insurance was to be done in India, so people like me who are not having any knowledge of engineering had to research on it and to find out. Here we have got people who have got technologies, as I was selling science, technology, engineering, all these skills are required for finding out proper ways, safe ways of having a single point mooring, and how to insure it, the finance people have to tell you. This is where there is collaboration.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Commander, some other? Yes.
Thank you. Just very quickly, I know we are tight for time. Just very quickly, I think the connection that Professor Ram Singh brought out between security and economics is important. And I just want to mention that in 2006, I was at a conference in London where we were talking about security and economics, 2006. And that was a time when I was stuck with this thing as an engineering guy, talking about security and economics. It was quite an interesting conversation. But it came to my mind that there are the security implications of the economic policies of a state. And there are economic implications of the security policy of the state. And that connection, I think, would be very interesting to advocate. And at that time, I dropped in a word called secunomics. That is the study of these two correlations and how they work. The second point, which was also discussed, was on waterways, which you had mentioned. And very quickly, I just want to talk about it, is sustainability together with the question that you brought about. In shipbuilding, it's not just about acoustic noise which has to be controlled. There are various types of technologies which have come up in controlling acoustic noise through cavitation and various sort of propulsion systems which reduce noise, which impact the ocean life minimally. These are technologies that are coming up. There's also ballast water management systems. There's energy efficient indicators. So shipbuilding is now very, very robust as far as sustainable technologies are concerned, which is embedded in it as per IMO regulations. The last point on training, just and education. I think that's a difference, and where I feel is that we could start beginning with vocational training, which is quite different from a full-time graduation course or a master's or a PhD. So many of the subjects that we spoke about are more aligned to vocational training, which gives you that added skill which makes you employable ready when you leave the portals of your college. So these are my two submissions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Professor Venkatraman, last words from you.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity for the last word. I'll just have only 2 points to make. The first one is about that marine tourism and security. If I make tourism as an attractive, professionally run business opportunity, the regulations come into play, the financing comes into play. Anyone who is putting a venture, any kind of a business venture, somebody who is investing it, will also make sure that there is a safety. So why is that the Mauritius is much more professionally run marine tourism compared to any of our own coastal states? Goa, you are not very secure when you are, getting into a boat, because there is a bit of a regulatory issue and there is a bit of a private venture capitals getting into this kind of a business opportunity, number one. And therefore, we need to promote such kind of opportunities, number one. What does it mean? It means that perhaps we need to think about entrepreneurs in this blue economy. I think Swayam portal already has blue, ocean entrepreneurs. Perhaps some of them today is focused towards aquaculture, food processing, so more towards that rather than certain other areas where could be an opportunity. Second, somebody raised this question about can we move it towards the executive level kind of program. Yes, Mumbai has an executive in maritime management. So it's possible. Even Delhi University colleges can do that, provided we are in a position to understand what does the industry require. Can we collaborate with some of these porters or shipping industries or shipping insurance company or financing companies or even marine tourism companies and build courses which are job opportunity oriented, all right, rather than just about launching a course with no placement possibility. So it would be much better if we, maybe even with the Delhi University, 2-3 institutes can just interact with the industry segments and try to find out what kind of courses would allow the students to be placed there. That would perhaps be the starting point for a university like ours.
Thank you, Professor Venkatraman. Your points are well received. I hand over the stage to Suhani. In the meantime, let's give a big round of applause to our panelists.
That was such an insightful discussion. I thank our panelists for sharing such valuable remarks with us. May I now request everyone to allow the photographer to take a group photograph. May I request Dr. Shishir Shrotriya and Director General RIS to kindly join us on stage. Now, I request Professor Ram Singh to present memento to Director General RIS as a token of gratitude. Thank you everyone for attending this session. Now it is time for lunch in the DSE lawns. Thank you.